Hello viewers. So in this video, we'll be looking at the trigonometric graphs. So we'll start with the simplest of them all, the graphs of sine x and the graph of cosine x. So for the graph of sine x, we always start with, we start from the origin, which is 0, 0. And then we discussed already in 5.6.2 that the range of sine is from -1 to 1. So the capital M is the maximum value is 1, while the minimum value is -1. And we also say that the range of the mean is the whole R. So in addition to this information from 1 to 4, we're familiar with all of this. But if you look at from number 5, it's very important there. And what is the 5? The fifth one is that the sine, the period of sine is what? Is 2 pi. So if you have sine x, is of period 2 pi. And this also applies to cosine. And that is why we said if you have sine x plus 2, if you have sine x plus 2n pi, this is always the same thing as what? At sine x. So this, we say that the n here, you can see the n here is for any integer, whether negative or positive integer. And then we can have this information there. So the period of sine, we said, is 2 pi, because if you add 2 pi to any value of x and you try to find the sine, it's still going to be the same value. So this is very important. It means a period is simply, so a one complete circle is what we mean by one period. So a complete circle for sine x is just 2 pi. Now, if you look at this one, so if you want to sketch the graph of sine x, all we need to look at is, so we want to graph this one, sine x. Now here, the period, we're just going to use the fact that the period is is 2 pi, right? So if the period of sine x is 2 pi, all we need to do is, it means we have to start from 0 to what? To 2 pi. So all we need to do is to divide this interval into just 4 intervals. So between 0 and 2 pi plus 0, if you divide by 2, you'll get a pi here. Then between 0 and pi, if you divide by 2, you should get pi over 2. And between pi, the midpoint, between pi and 2 pi, what I mean is that you add pi plus what? Plus 2 pi will be 3 pi. Divide by 2, this is going to be 3 pi over what? Over 2. Now, once you have this interval, so all we need to do is just to use our amplitude now. What is the amplitude? Amplitude is simply the maximum So here is going to be 1, and also here is going to be -1. So this is the maximum displacement that you can go from your baseline. Our baseline now is our origin, right? So if you go up from here, a distance of 1, and here also a distance of 1 downward. So how to graph this is, this is for sine x. So we'll just start from where? We'll start from the point 0, 0. So we'll start from the point 0, 0, and then we just graph the point. So this is the point 0, 0. And you know that when x is 0, sine 0 is also 0. Then you just move, as we move to the right, we'll have to go to the highest point, which is this one. Then as you move again to the right, we come back to the baseline. Then as we go to the right again, then you go to the minimum. Then you're back to this point. So you just need to connect this point. and this will be our graph. So you can see our amplitude is just the distance from here or the distance from here to here, which in either case is just 1. So this now is the graph of sine x, but this is for one period. It means your x is between 0 and what? And 2 pi. But for the question here, you see the question says we should sketch what? 2 period. 2 period simply means like 2 cycle, right? So this is a complete cycle. As you can see from here to here, from 0 to pi is half a cycle. From pi to 2 pi is also another half cycle. So we have period, 1 period. So since we're looking for two period, we have two options. It's either we add 1 period to the left or we add another period to the right, but let's add it to the left. So what I mean by adding it to the left, it simply means we increase this here. So if this is 0, it's going to be between now 0 and minus 2 pi. All right. So between 0 and minus 2 pi. Then here, the midpoint here is going to be minus pi. And this will be minus pi over 2. And this will be minus 3 pi over 2 as well. And so you just need to follow the same pattern. Now we're going to the left. Since this is at 0, the next point is going to be at where? Is going to be at minus 1. Then, but now remember we're going this way. So now you have to come back to the baseline, which is 0, 0. Then as you go to this next point, we have to move to where? We have to move up. Then we're back here. So it's just going to continue in this way. And we're there. So this is the graph. So from here to here, just like I said, this is 1 period. And this is another one, which is also another period if we go to the left. So this is another 1 period. So in all, we have 2 periods together. And here we can also use the fact, so you can always test that we know that whether your graph is correct or not. This is what? This means that x is what? Minus pi over 2, right? And then you can find what is sine minus pi over 2. If, for example, here you want to find sine minus pi over 2, just use the fact that sine is odd. So you can take the minus out, so it becomes minus sine pi over 2. But sine pi over 2 is what? Is 1. So this will be just minus 1. So this is how to check if your points are correct. All right, so let's sketch that of cosine. So that of cosine is similar, but the only difference is that for cosine, you see, we start from which point? We start from the point 0, 1. Because at x equals to 0, cosine is going to be 1, not 0. So for example 2, we're asked to sketch 2 periods of cosine. So it means we want to sketch the graph of y equals to cosine x. So if you want to sketch y is equals to cosine x, all we need to do is simply we follow the same method. So here the period is still a period is still 2 pi. And the amplitude, which I can talk about, our amplitude is what? Is just 1. So we have this. Also from 0 to 2 pi, just as we did earlier. Now you divide this into 4 intervals. Now, dividing this in 4 intervals, the midpoint here is going to be pi. This is still going to be pi over 2. And this is going to be 3 pi over 2. So now we are not going to start. We're going to start from where? From the point, since we need what? We need two period as well. So let's just complete this. This is going to be minus pi over 2. This is going to be minus pi minus 3 pi over 2. And this is minus 2 pi. So first of all, we focus on the right-hand side. Let's finish the right-hand side. That is enough for one period. Then we can add another period to the left. So here now, we're going to start from the maximum value. This is 1 minus 1. So at 0, our value is 1. If you move to the right, we will just come down here. We'll follow the same pattern. Moving to the right, then you have to go down to minus 1. Then when you move to the right again, you come back to your baseline, which is 0. Then at 2 pi, we will be somewhere back to the highest point, which is 1. So putting these points together, we will have this one. Right. So this is the graph of cosine x. This is one period of it. Then if we want to add second period, you just follow the same. You trace this down. It's going to be here, right? Then now the next point will go to the minus 1. Then when you go here, you can remember we're going this direction. Now you have to go back to the baseline. Then from here, we have to go to the highest point, which is somewhere here. Let me remove this amplitude from here. It's going to be here. So the trace, we're going to have this, something like this. So this graph is, the whole graph now is the graph of what? Cosine of x, but our x is between minus 2 pi less than x less than 2 pi. So this is 2 periods of cosine x. Okay, so let's try to generalize things a bit. Trying to generalize things a bit means here, the one we look at now is where you have your A to be just sine and what? Your A, it means the amplitude is just 1. So I think in our next video, we'll look at situation where the amplitude is not necessarily 1, so we can generalize it to something like this. So thank you for watching. Stay tuned for the next video.